teacher, the prophet, the psychic, and the tennis pastor. Coming back at you with another video. People, this is the last video on topics. Well, you know what? If I think of a topic during after the U.S. Open start. But no, even if there's a topic, I probably do it while I'm previewing a match or in a post-match analysis after the match is done. But I'm ready to go ahead and start maybe tonight or tomorrow, start previewing these matches here. And I got to get into women's stuff because I haven't been doing any of the women's, so I got to get into that crazy women's stuff too. But let me go ahead and this is the last topic pretty well on the men's. And I've already previewed the men's. I know I didn't preview every player, but I put the players in categories, and that's what I'm getting ready to do now. This right here is called the 7 narratives of what can happen. What are these 7 things that's going to happen? And I'm gonna put it sort of in the order of the chances of it happening. Now, listen, you know how that upset thing can happen and all this stuff can get spiritual and turn upside down and jinx. So just because I put I put something number 1, that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to happen. But that's the chances of it happening. Okay, so like I said, there are 7 narratives. Okay, that is, there are 7 storylines that could happen, 7 possibilities, 7 different categories that could win the U.S. Open 2018. Okay, number 1. Okay, I'm not analyzing these categories, people, because I'm going to say something about number 7 though. Because I didn't say that in the video that I just did on Andy Murray. Andy Murray is number 7. But let me get to this thing. Okay, number 1 is, the first possibility is number 1 is the Djokovic. Okay. Number 2, like I said, I already analyzed all this. I already said why I think the Djokovic is probably the favorite or his chances of winning. Okay, number 2 is Nadal wins the U.S. Open. Okay, and now you could put, like I said in one of the other videos, you couldn't put Nadal number 1. I mean, I don't have a problem with that. Okay, he could be. It's like a tie almost, but I think that Djokovic is favored over Nadal. All right. Well, somebody, you know what? Can I say something? Forget them actually playing. Someone could argue. Forget the Djokovic. You know what, people? I'm finna do something. I just caught myself doing something here. I'm gonna put no. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna say Nadal is number 1. Now listen, let me tell you why. Now listen, people, this is not who's my favorite now. Because no, we saying because Nadal it's got an easier draw than Federer and the Djokovic, there is more of a chance that Nadal could win the U.S. Open. So Nadal is number 1, the Djokovic is number 2. Okay. All right. Y'all understand what I just did? Now somebody could say, no. The Djokovic could beat Nadal. No. We're not talking about, that's just a one-time matchup. We're talking about the whole tournament. If you look at the draw, there is a higher chance that Nadal, because he's on the other side of the draw, he doesn't have to worry about Federer. The Djokovic has to worry about Federer. Federer has to worry about the Djokovic. So there's more of a chance that Nadal can win the U.S. Open. Okay? Now, this what I'm doing now. The possibility of that narrative happening, that ain't necessarily the same as who's the favorite or who's the favorite between the Djokovic and Nadal. I'm going to take the Djokovic to beat Nadal when they play. I think the Djokovic is slightly favored over Nadal. But as far as the overall tournament, I think there is a greater possibility because the Djokovic got to go through Federer. There ain't a guarantee the Djokovic can beat Federer, okay? So let's keep it moving though. See, I said I wasn't going to analyze all this, and I already started all this silly analyzing. Okay, number 3, the third narrative is that Federer wins the U.S. Open, number 3. I told him, man, I'm not counting Federer out. Even some Federer fans have sort of counted Federer out. Man, he must be crazy. I don't even know what level. Federer may bring a super high level into the U.S. Open. Okay, so that's number 3. Okay? Now, some people are going to disagree with some people are going to totally disagree with number 4, and some people, even if they think it should be one of the narratives, they may not think it should be number 4 though. People, well, it could be number 5. It could go 4 or 5, but I'm putting Wawrinka number 4. Now, I did a video on Wawrinka. I don't know. Wawrinka is playing well now. He's won the U.S. Open. Wawrinka has beaten the Djokovic 2 times. 2 of his majors were against the Djokovic. He beat the Djokovic. Wawrinka at his highest level matches up very well against the Djokovic and the Nadal. And now somebody may say, well, is he going to bring his highest level? I know that. Yeah. But I got Wawrinka is number 4. That Wawrinka could win the U.S. Open, okay? That's see, people, whether this happens or not, I want my 7 narratives to cover everything. In other words, I don't want something to happen and it be outside of the 7 narratives that I just said. One of these, listen, whoever wins the U.S. Open, my 7 narratives are going to cover it, okay? Okay, so Wawrinka's number 4. Okay, number 5, one of the old generational players, not new generational players, one of the old generational players win the U.S. Open, okay? And I got 5 of them. If y'all guys got a number 6 or 7 old generational player that y'all think could win it, you can comment about it, okay? And if I think it's worth putting it on the list, I will. But these are the 5 old generational players, and they all are playing well right now. And I already did a video on them. This is Isner, Kevin Anderson, Cilic, Del Potro, and Raonic, okay? I don't need to analyze this again. It's pretty obvious why that group why that group could win the U.S. Open, especially if the top 3 get upset, okay? The number 5, that group, the old generational players, would be next in line, okay? Now, somebody could say, well, the old generational players should be ahead of Wawrinka, number 4. Wawrinka should be number 5 if he should be on the list. Okay, I get that. I don't have a problem with that. If somebody want to say there's a better chance that Del Potro and Cilic could win the U.S. Open. I get that, but you may say, well, imagine, man, why do you put Wawrinka number 4? You know why? See, I don't think Nadal gonna let none of those old generational players beat them, or the Djokovic. I think they're gonna be ready. But the reason I put Wawrinka number 4, I think Wawrinka is the one that can sneak up on Nadal and the Djokovic and surprise them. And he's beat them before in the big moment if he's on. So it's more the suspense. Now, I know Wawrinka, he does have to be playing at a high level, but I think Wawrinka, I think he could possibly catch Nadal and the Djokovic off guard. Okay, so now, number 6, I told y'all I'm doubtful about now some people may want to put the new generation of players up, but I'm not. I told y'all the new generation of players as far as slams are not showing me that much. So the sixth narrative is the new generation of players such as Zverev. I put Thiem in that category. Chung. Let me keep calling them out. Shapovalov. The Russian, Rublev. I'm leaving off some of them, man. That's a lot of them, man. Tsitsipas. I know I'm leaving off at least TFO. I'm leaving off 3 of them probably, but y'all know all of them still. They're in that category. They number 6. Okay, so that's the sixth narrative of what could happen. And okay, I don't think the new generation of players are going to win unless those top 3 guys get upset. Then the new generation of players do have a much better chance then. Okay, but I still wouldn't put the new generation of players. Even if Federer and Nadal and the Djokovic got upset, I think Del Potro, Cilic, and Kevin Anderson and them will win before, and Isner and Raonic will win before those guys. Okay, now number 7, people are gonna probably laugh at this, but I'm gonna show y'all the pathway. And I'm putting number 7 separate. It's Andy Murray. Okay, now somebody may be, come on. Well, first of all, the question may be, well, why do you put him with Wawrinka? Whether you put him number 4 or Wawrinka, put Wawrinka number 7 with Andy Murray. Well, first of all, Wawrinka is playing well enough to me, and I told y'all Wawrinka got that element of surprise that he can beat Nadal and the Djokovic in the pressure moment. And Wawrinka ain't got no, he doesn't have any more injuries, like knee injury is Wawrinka seems to be a lot healthier than Andy Murray. Okay, so let's go with the 7th narrative possibility. Winning the U.S. Open is Andy Murray. Okay. Now let me say some people. I just did a video a couple hours ago saying that can Andy Murray win the U.S. Open? I put how would he do in the U.S. Open. So see, I didn't even give it. See, even with the title, I started to put can Andy Murray win the U.S. Open? But see, I don't even think Andy Murray has too much of a chance. And so I put how would he do? But you know what, people? I'm gonna say something. Y'all check this out. This is the pathway. There's just a couple things that could happen, and Andy Murray could find himself in the final if he plays at a good level. Okay, let me tell you what could happen, people. Suppose Nadal gets upset, and Andy Murray, I think Andy Murray plays Del Potro the 3rd round. Say Andy Murray plays Del Potro, beats Del Potro the 3rd round. If he beats Del Potro, that means Andy Murray is playing well, okay? And that's possible. Maybe Del Potro, especially if Del Potro is not playing at his top level, Andy Murray beats Del Potro. And then after that, Nadal gets upset, like the 4th round. People, look at the draw. Andy Murray has a good chance of beating everybody on that side of the draw if he's playing at that level of beating Del Potro. Andy Murray, he don't have to worry about Federer or the Djokovic until the final. People, Andy Murray has a good chance of making it to the final at least. If Nadal gets upset, number 1, Andy Murray gets past Del Potro. That's possible. I mean, listen, Andy Murray has a chance of beating Del Potro. Probably better than Nadal getting upset. Say those 2 things happen. And now number 3, Andy Murray, he needs his hip not to start acting up. There's no way Andy Murray going to even make it to the final if his hip starts acting up. And, he probably have to retire, talking about best of 5. So those 3 things. Nadal gets upset. Andy Murray beats Del Potro the 3rd round. And number 3, Andy Murray's hip doesn't act up. Now, I could add a number 4 and say Andy Murray maintain a high level. But I think if Andy Murray beats Del Potro and his hip is not acting up, that means he's playing at a good, really high good level. At least high enough to maybe make it to the final on that side. Okay, people? So those are the 7 narratives. Let me go over it again. One of the 7 things that's going to happen. You guys, if you guys like my 7, take it. If you don't, now you may like my 7, but you may not like the order. Like I said, you can put the Djokovic number 1 or Nadal number 1, okay? And one of them, they are 1 and 2 for sure. Most people probably would agree with that. So let's go over the 7 narratives of what could happen. It's number 1, Nadal wins the U.S. Open. Number 2, the Djokovic wins the U.S. Open. Number 3, Federer wins the U.S. Open. Number 4, Wawrinka comes out of nowhere, like he's number 4, wins the U.S. Open. Number 5, one of the old generational players win the U.S. Open. Cilic, Del Potro, or Isner, or Kevin Anderson, or Raonic. Okay, number 6 is that one of the new generational players win the U.S. Open, such as Zverev, Thiem, Chung, maybe even Shapovalov, or Rublev, Tiafoe, okay, Tsitsipas, okay, so that's number 6. And number 7 is that Andy Murray plays at a really good level. He beats Del Potro the 3rd round, and Nadal gets upset. Go look at the draw. Hey, listen, Andy Murray has a good chance of beating almost everybody on that side if he's already beat Del Potro and Nadal goes out. Okay, and say Andy Murray's hip doesn't start straining and acting up and hurting and everything else. Okay, so that's it, people. So what do you agree with these 7 narratives? And if you agree with these 7 narratives, what order? I mean, maybe somebody that thinks Federer has a better chance, or maybe somebody think that Federer, that the old generation of players such as Cilic and Del Potro should be ahead of Federer. Maybe they should be number 3 and Federer should be number 5. Okay, people, tell me your order. Comment below. Tennis Preacher Prophet Psychic signing off. Have a good one.